But you mentioned China, Greg. That threat is growing. I know people probably think I go on about this too much, but I'm telling you, this is so serious. The Washington Post now has evidence that a port in Cambodia that China is helping to build, as we reported here a couple of months ago, I warned this, but they've actually got more proof of this, is actually being built for the Chinese Navy itself, which brings that Navy much, much closer to our northern coast. How serious is this?
Well, you're right, Andrew, and you've been right about China for a long, long time, and it's now coming home to roost. So China is seeking a network of military bases in a number of places in the world. It's got one in Djibouti, it's after one in the South Pacific, it's getting one in Cambodia. Now, we've seen how China acts in territory that it thinks belongs to its strategic sphere of interest, and it doesn't want anybody else in, with this recent intercept of an Australian maritime surveillance aircraft. Now, I believe the Americans are reliable allies, but we are going to have to deal with a much more full-on and powerful Chinese military presence than we ever imagined, even as recently as 3 or 4 years ago. Now, I think that means we must get our own military capabilities very, very fast, and we have no idea what the limit of Chinese strategic ambition is. And while I love the Americans and I believe they are reliable, we don't know, if Biden really would fight for Taiwan. We don't know if there will be an isolationist of the left or an isolationist of the right who succeeds Biden. We do know that the Americans are not expanding their defence budget in the way they would need to if they were going to make sure they could decisively defeat China in a confrontation over Taiwan. And I think, we've just been fast asleep for the last 15 years, and we've got to get our skates on.
Absolutely, and I think it's actually worse than even you said. That China's got a port in Sri Lanka that it totally owns and land behind it, easily converted to a naval base. It's building a port in Tanzania that could be converted to a naval base if it can persuade the Tanzanian government, and it's building a port in the southern coast or the only coast of Pakistan, and who knows what it might make of that. This is really serious stuff. Back home, our new Defence Minister, Richard Marles, has said that our new nuclear submarines won't start arriving in 2038, as the Morrison government said, and I think you made the same warning, by the way. Much later, he said, mid-2040s is when we can expect them. Is that true? Or is Labor just moving the goalposts to protect itself in case there are stuff-ups and delays under its watch to these new nuclear submarines that we don't want in 2038? We need them like about now.
Yeah, so Andrew, I, as you know, and frequently in discussions with you, was very, very sceptical of the Morrison government's ability to bring the subs to fruition by 2038. I mean, what new class of naval vessel has Australia ever delivered on time? And the government kept telling us it was going to be built in Adelaide. By the time they started, we wouldn't have built any submarines for decades. We have no nuclear industry. It took America and Britain both more than 30 years each to go from design to getting their first nuclear sub in service. Now, I have come to the view that however unpalatable it is, we're going to have a conventional sub as an interim capability, either Moore Collins or the Son of Collins. Minimal design changes. The Navy hates this because they always want to go for the super gold-plated, custom-made Australian extra special. But honestly, you don't have to believe me or Richard Marles or anyone else. Just look at the record of Australian naval procurement.
Exactly correct.
Does anyone believe we get...
HMS Cerberus... Well, I do think HMS Cerberus did get a boat on time, on budget, a rubber dinghy, I believe, that it managed to get on time and on budget. So you never know. Greg Sheridan, thank you so much indeed for your time.